Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Commander Jocelyn Blowfield. We warmly welcome the family of Private Alfred William Jacob, who are watching the live stream of this ceremony. His story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by a representative of the family, visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you. If you're able, you may be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Alfred William Jacob. Alfred Jacob was born at Arthur River in the southern Wheatbelt region of Western Australia in November 1886. He was one of 9 children of Prussian-born carpenter-builder Alfred Jacob Sr. and his wife Emma. By the early part of the century, Jacob was working as a survey foreman in the town of Yilimining. At the outbreak of the First World War, he was living in Perth, working for the Western Australian Railways. Alfred Jacob enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force at Perth on the 28th of February 1916. Allotted to reinforcements of the 28th Battalion, he went into Black Boy Camp, east of Perth, for basic training. After a 6-week regime of marching, drill, musketry and sham fighting, Alfred embarked at Fremantle for overseas service on the troop ship Aeneas on the 17th of April. The draft of reinforcements disembarked at Plymouth and was sent to the 7th Australian Training Battalion on Salisbury Plain, where Private Jacob was put through a regime of military training, route marches and field sports. He and the other reinforcements proceeded to France in mid-September 1916. They went into a relatively quiet area of the Western Front, known as the Nursery Sector, where new troops were introduced to trench warfare. Private Jacob's draft completed further training in drill and bayonet fighting, and he was assigned to Delta Company. He finally joined his unit, the 28th Battalion, on the 30th of October at Dernancourt in northern France. 4 days later, Private Jacob's battalion relieved the 53rd Battalion and took part in an attack on the German line. In a single advance on Gerd Trench, 59 officers and men of the battalion were killed and 168 wounded. Private Alfred Jacob received a gunshot wound to his left arm and had part of his index finger shot off. After first being taken to a casualty clearing station, he was transferred to an ambulance train, loaded onto the hospital ship Caulsbrook Castle to cross the Channel, and admitted to the 3rd London General Hospital. As his wounds improved, Private Jacob was transferred to the newly opened 2nd Australian Auxiliary Hospital, specialising in the care of amputee soldiers. Fortunately for Alfred Jacob, his wounds healed, and by mid-January he was deemed fit enough, though missing a finger, to rejoin his unit in France. In January 1917, he moved to a camp at Fricourt. In wet, wintry conditions, the infantry continued a routine of training and working parties to improve trenches and repair communications. In early February, heavy snow meant that the soldiers on patrol had to wear white clothing. Frozen ground gave way to a thaw late in the month, and the unit diarist described conditions in the trenches as very bad. Reinforced by small drafts of men, the 28th Battalion rotated between the front line and the support line. In March, the men were entrenched at Wallencourt. At 3 a.m. on the 2nd of March 1917, Bravo Company raided Malt Trench. The Germans responded with heavy fire. Amongst the dead was Private Alfred Jacob. He was 30 years old. Because of the destructive nature of the fighting on the Western Front, his burial place was lost. Today, he is commemorated on the Australian National Memorial at Villers-Bretonneux. His name is among 10,000 Australians who died in France during the First World War and have no known grave. At home in Western Australia, on the first anniversary of his death, his family placed an in memoriam notice in the newspaper. Far away from those who loved him, comrades laid him down to rest. In a hero's grave he's sleeping, our loved one, the dearest and best. Alfred Jacob's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Alfred William Jacob, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.